everyone to the next season of the Amherst Irish Association. We are returning in person now. After listening to your responses to our member survey, we're trying it again in person with safety protocols in place. I'm going to be wearing a mask except when I'm speaking, and our presenters and musicians will be masked at their option. And obviously, you can't wear a mask in place of other instruments, so we're not going to ask anybody to wear a mask at that time. But we're so glad to be back in person. It's been a long 2.5 years, and it just feels wonderful to be back again. And we have a lot planned for it this year. We're going to be back every month with a new event. And with that, I'll ask Ida O'Carroll to come up and join us and talk about what's coming up. Thanks, Ida.
Well, fáilte, everybody, welcome. Agus bhhail an buchas ó crí go bhá leis the Kyoto Galera. I'd like to thank from my heart and the heart of the large committee here, our musicians. And just to give you a flavour of what's coming up this year in our programme, we have, as always in October, our Margaret Marr Award. That will be presented by the Consul General of Boston, Leisha Moore, and that's on October 23rd. And our own Jonathan and Amanda are recipients this year, along with John and Maureen. Well-deserved recognition of their decades of work to promote and support Irish cultural heritage in our Moshe of the Skirmeen Mountain. Then in November, Joyce's Ulysses by again a local resident, Catherine O'Callaghan, a dub by birth for teaching at UMass, with a great title, What's the Fuss About? In December we'll do our usual solstice, Greenstock and Gira, and in January a new person to us, Irish American Heritage Museum in Albany, Elizabeth Stack. She's from Listowel originally, to tell us about the programs they have just 40 minutes up the road. I'll be presenting in March on Declan's Way, a new site of pilgrimage that's been developed between Cashel and Ardmore in County Waterford. And harpist and composer Anya Minogue will be our presenter in April. She was actually playing here last night in Amherst. And finally, we end in May with the Easter Rising, again another local resident, Bill Matthews, who was a former professor at UMass. Thank you for your ongoing support. We want to recognise in particular the Department of Foreign Affairs Immigrant Support Programme that provides us with funding for our advertising. Gurmil Mahabiv. Awaiting.
Thanks so very much. Thanks to everyone. The way we're going to structure today is that we'll play a few tunes together and then in different groups, maybe some solo here and there. People will introduce themselves, so I don't have to do that, and they'll introduce their instruments and how they got into traditional music.
Go on, introduce yourself.
Oh.
Somebody might know.
Right.
There's a chance.
All right. My name is Jonathan, and I play the uilleann pipes here. This instrument was actually, the chanter was made for me recently by a gentleman in Vermont, Benedict Kohler, it's fantastic, and the rest of the instrument was made by him and David Quinn in New York. So you don't have to go far afield from the States to find world-class instruments. I was born and raised in southeastern Massachusetts, and I had heard Irish music kind of in the family for years. My grandparents would occasionally play cassette tapes or records, and by extension my mother. My uncle used to play the banjo a little bit, and tin whistle, and he actually started learning Irish too, I remember when I was a kid. And so it's kind of always there, and I never really gave it much thought. And then when I moved up to Western Massachusetts in the 90s, I heard and saw a local group, and Cordelia's dad, and one of their band members was playing essentially a bodhrán, a one-sided drum. He wasn't playing an Irish music style or any of that, it's just incorporating an instrument to another type of music. Anyway, that got me interested in the instrument, and then I kind of started trickling into Irish music. And then one year I saw the pipes, I'd heard them, but I had never seen them before. This is before the internet, so it's like, I didn't know what this is. And I saw a piper by the name of Jerry O'Sullivan, who's from New York State, playing an Irish music thing out near Boston Way. And instantly, that was the thing I wanted to do. I had no idea what he was doing. What you're doing is what I want to do. And after this little concert, He was going off for another thing. I asked him like, hey, would you mind if you have a second? He didn't rush, but he said, go to this person selling music and tell her I sent you and ask for any recommendations for a good gift. We'll talk to you later. And off we went. But that was like my start of it. So here I am today. But I think what we'll do is all together, right? We're going to play a few reels. So in Irish traditional music, there are several different rhythms that people dance to. And so this set will be made of reels. And the first one's called Orman Sound. And it actually refers to the sound of the Orman Cayley Dam. It's not like a body of water, but it's
Stretched on for years.
yeah, many years too. But it refers to the actual sound of the Cayley Dam. So Orman Sound, and then afterwards will be a reel called the Tonic Heifers.
Well, we can both talk a short bit about, since we're kind of telling the story of how we got into Irish music, because I don't know that I've heard all of your stories, so this is kind of, I know it's actually
Well, for me,
My name is Crystal Bailey. I was born and raised in Arkansas, and I went to grad school in Indiana, and I lived in DC. And my husband and I both moved to this region just exactly a year ago. Today. Over in Pelham. We love it here in Western Mass. So my story of how I got into Irish music, I mean, my family, my mother's maiden name is Kennedy and my name is Bailey, and I just had this vague idea that I had a connection to Ireland. My whole life I've been interested in sort of exploring that, but I didn't really get much of an opportunity. In fact, I didn't even hear Irish music until I was in college. And one of my boyfriends, his dad was really into the Chieftains, and so he would like put the Chieftains on. And like many people, I think when they encounter Irish music, first to me, it was just this kind of like wall of sound. And it was bright and it was happy, but I was just like, what is that? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And then one day I was in grad school, I was doing my homework in a coffee shop in Bloomington, Indiana, which has a really nice music scene. And there were some great musicians playing, like Troy Larson and Patti Lee, and some other people were really well-known Irish musicians were playing in this coffee shop. And I remember taking my headphones off, and all of a sudden I could hear what seemed like a syntax, like you could hear the patterns. It was like hearing a language. And I realized, like, oh my God, there's like an intelligence in there. Like it's, the patterns, it enchanted me completely. It was like kind of shimmery and mystical inside that wall of sound. I was like, oh my God, I have to learn more. And fortunately, one of my colleagues in grad school also played in the local scene. He was playing the mandolin in the office all the time. So I basically just latched onto this group of people. I started on guitar. That didn't last long because I really wanted to play the melody. So then I moved to mandolin, and then from there to tenor banjo. And the tenor banjo was actually kind of my main instrument for a long time. We were both playing the banjo when we met. And now I've moved on to the fiddle, which I've been playing for 15 years or so. And then now I'm also learning the concertina, like the little squeeze box. So it's a lifelong journey, and it's a wonderful journey that connects you to great music, great history, tradition, and wonderful people. Which is why we're here.
Real quickly, hi everybody, my name's Patrick Kavanaugh, and Crystal and I have been partners in music and life for about a dozen years now. We both played Irish music before we met each other, and played kind of a typical session repertoire. A lot of popular music in Washington, D.C., where I was living at the time, was Clare music, Galway music. But when we got together, we also, at the same time, more or less, found a love for the music of Sliabh Luachra, which is the name for the region that crosses the border between Cork and Kerry. The River Blackwater, which ends up in Cork City, starts right about there, the headwaters of the Blackwater up there in the boggy, rushy hills. And the famous fiddlemaster, Patrick O'Keefe, is famous for being sort of the exemplar of that style of music. And it is typified by polkas and slides is kind of the main thing people think of, but it's a very rich and deep tradition that encompasses all of the tune types. And it's mostly dominated by the fiddle, and everything else kind of, tries to do as well as the fiddle does. Anyway, so we're going to play a set of polkas for you from that area. The first one is called Connie in the Pool, which apparently has a story behind it, but we don't know what the story is exactly 100%. So sort of think about that. And then we're going to end up with a polka that's a little more common. So the third polka, I think.
Hopefully you all will be able to join. Hopefully you know it. It's a D. It's
No? That's what it is. Yeah. All right, so come in.
the Valley. I was very, very excited for many reasons. One, they're just great. I mean, they're wonderful people, just flat out. So I'm always happy to keep them around. But clearly, they like our music outside of the horns. But anyway, but also because their repertoire, they have an amazing set of repertoire tunes that I've heard, but I know very few of. I know no vocalists, and I know only 2 slides. But it's great to have that balance and that rhythm. They certainly add a wealth of musical everything to this album. Thanks for moving up here. So very good, folks. Who's next on the list? Amanda, did you want to sing a song, or did you want to sing something else?
I was thinking we could probably do some jigs, or do some
Gigs?
Do we want a slow sad song first, or a faster song about chickens first? Chickens? Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm Amanda. Hi. I'm Amanda. It's really fun. I was just thinking, it's actually fairly unusual, I think, that you get couples who have so similar interests and play Irish music together, and today we have 3. But that's just how it worked out today. So this is my in life and music, and I don't know. I started playing fiddle when I was 9. Sort of general folk music. Took lessons from a woman who plays a very eclectic mix of music, and then sort of gravitating towards the Irish music. Partly, my interest in Irish music and Irish language sort of started to develop around the same time, and so fiddle has been my predominant instrument for the music for a very long time, but I've also taken up pipes more recently, and playing them. We'll play them together for you later. And along with that interest in music and language came interest in the song tradition, and there's a very rich song tradition in Ireland. And one of the types of traditions is called shango singing, which is singing without any instrumental backup. Mostly it's in the Irish language, and many of the songs are slower and very ornamental in how they're sung. Some of them are a little faster. So I'll do a faster one for you today. It's about a hen and a rooster who go a-traveling, and unfortunately the rooster is caught by a bunch of women who want to make a soup. And so in that way it's a little bit of a sad song, but here it is. I'm character this one. Oh, Arsen Kaxi, Bolet, Naru, Nampur, Kabakin, Yakta, Numoshkin. Aftermath-Nugas, Egan, Malaka, Sheetas, Afakas, Bakelele. Mahaprabha, Huda, Bakusa, Vamukai, Ramadun, Senor. Fiction of movies, shield of progress, fight to action, I say maybe some jigs. Want to choose other jigs?
You guys can play it.
Alright, so the jigs are My Darling Sleep, Morrison's, and Tripping Up the Stairs. I'll be following you guys for the jigs.
So 3 times each, yeah? It's just a,
Yeah, absolutely.
side note, before I pass it over here to my right or left, the harp is a very, very old instrument, and in Ireland anyway, there's actually a funny transition, and it's a very interesting combination where the harp was very, very popular, and maybe we'll get into it or maybe not. We can talk later, but as the pipes came to be in the early-ish 18th century, as the harp was petering out for whatever reason, and the pipes were coming in for whatever reason, but there was a dovetail, and sometimes they were kind of maybe active competition, like the house of the instrument was going away and the new instrument of the house was coming in. But there's a really great combination of pipes and harp music. Just as like the pipes and fiddle are a very traditional combination, pipes and harp have a very old niche system. It's actually very, very cool because as you can see, they're very different instruments. But they could, yeah.
And the national symbol.
Yeah, the national symbol.
Yeah.
And I believe the pipes were the national instrument of Ireland. At least when I looked years ago, but I may have screwed it up.
It's the accordion now.
It's the accordion. Lynn, Ed?
Should I? All right, well, I started playing the harp when I was about 10 years old, and like Jonathan was saying, for him, when he saw the pipes, when I saw the harp, I just thought, I really want to learn to play that, that's really super cool. And so I started playing harp, and I guess it's common for young harp students to be trained in a classical style. So the idea is that you'll start on a smaller harp. Actually the harp I started on was a floor harp, but not a concert grand orchestral harp. And then you're supposed to kind of work your way toward being a solo orchestral harpist. But I knew that wasn't the path that I wanted, and I just enjoyed playing the harp kind of for my own enjoyment, and ended up kind of finding my path to doing therapeutic music with a smaller harp. So it's actually what I do professionally is one-on-one sessions, therapeutic music sessions for people who are in hospice or hospital or skilled nursing facilities. So I play harp and either improvise or play a variety of kind of all kinds of music, whatever speaks to the particular person I'm working with. So my path to Irish music was much more recent. I was remembering my first Irish session was actually, I was staying with a harpist in Tel Aviv, and she said, come with me Friday night, this Irish pub is open, and we can play some music. I said, I have no idea what to do, but I had this little harp with me, and she said, just kind of play the root note, kind of play the drone, and try to keep the rhythm, and so that was, my first Irish session. I didn't know it was a thing actually, and then ended up going to a festival, to a week-long kind of Acadia Trad festival to kind of learn more about traditional music, and so I much more recently come to playing Irish music and learning Irish repertoire. But I think it's the cool thing for me is to be able to really go anywhere in the world. So my son was studying in Arizona, and I thought, I was staying with him for a few days, and I thought, let me see if there's an Irish session here in Prescott, Arizona, and there was. So I got a chance to just, interact with people there. And another time I was traveling, I was in former East Germany in Halle, and just there for 2 weeks, but there was an Irish session up there. So being able to, I wanted to share that it's kind of a cool thing. You can sort of go a lot of places around and, around the country around the world. Meet people and play music together. So.
And your name?
I forgot to say my name is Lynn. Yeah. Well, my partner is Ted.
Okay. As you've already heard, my name is Ted, and let's see, I first got into Irish music through New England contra dancing, and I started contra dancing when I was in college. Loved it. Loved how the music moved me and made me want to move, and loved being around other people. And years later, my brother-in-law sent me in the mail a tin whistle. And I didn't play any instruments at that point. I was 38 years old and opened this thing up and found I really love him. And so I thought I respect him and love him. I can't just throw this thing away or use it to prop open a window in my apartment. So I put it on the passenger seat of my car. And weeks later was going on a long drive across southern New Hampshire and falling asleep. I thought, I have got to do something to stay awake. And started playing along to a Richard Thompson CD I had and figuring out the melody on this whistle. And yes, I'll have to admit, I was driving the car, so I put the tilt wheel down, grabbed it with my knees, long straight road, turned the cruise control on, don't tell the authorities. But I felt a feeling of working out that music that it just grabbed me. And I basically haven't stopped playing since then. And for a while I was playing along to any CDs that I had, trying to find country dance music that I liked to dance to, the music that moved me. And found out over time, kind of unexpectedly, that the tunes that did it, that gave me goosebumps, were Irish tunes. And that I was surprised. I had sort of a preconceived prejudice that, oh, this would be Shamrocks and Leprechauns and be very corny. And I thought, no, this is really, really gripping, powerful music. Still just played by myself in my car for a couple more years, and then through coworkers found out that there were sessions, and ended up becoming a real session junkie for years and years, and becoming more serious about my playing instead of it just being a solo hobby, being something that felt like there was more at stake, because I wanted to play with other people, and gradually learned to play flute. That's a whole other skill set, and now practice almost every day for about half an hour every day, and try to continue to grow and develop. And just, I really love the whole scene. I love the music kind of first and foremost, but immediately after, I love the people and the stories and everything that goes along with it. So it's a wonderful scene.
So the first tune we're going to play together is a tune by a harper named Turlough O'Carolan. And he, you might know, but he, I think was born in the late 1600s and became blind at the age of 18 from smallpox. And then I guess found his career, his way of making a living by traveling around and composing music and playing it on the harp for maybe like the noble families in all around Ireland, and kind of, I think, did that for really his whole life, and sort of, I think, in exchange for room and board, sort of, stay in a house for a while and compose songs for their family members, or maybe for, someone he had a crush on, I think, and so anyway, this tune is called Eleanor Plunkett, and it's written for, I think, someone, a daughter in that household, so feel free, everyone, to play along.
it's just so wonderful. And then I look down at my pipes, and they're great too, but you know, they're not. It's, yeah. Anyway,
It's different. It's different, of course, I think.
so as Amanda said, she also does play the pipes, and I take all the blame for that.
Entirely your fault.
It is, and that's what her dad tells me regularly. Joking, of course, but
It's actually how we met.
it's actually.
It's watching you play the pipes, being awestruck.
Not by me, but by the instrument. But anyway, so I believe we're going to play, there's another rhythm in Irish music called hornpipes and set dances and all these other really cool dance types other than just jigs and reels. So that we're gonna play 2 set dances. First one is the job of journey work, and then maybe the blackbird.
And if people want to join in on the Blackbird,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
lovely.
I think so. We'll squeeze out.
So these are tunes that go with specific dances, percussive dancing, Irish step dancing, and that is something that I used to do, but I have not done it in so long that I didn't feel good about trying to do it for you today. But these tunes are, they don't fit in the typical time structure of the other types of tunes we're playing. They have little extra bars, and they go with very specific steps of the dance. So they're closely entwined, and it's something I love playing, thinking about how dance and music are connected. So just check, quick check. We need to stop it?
Or would you like,
What would you like us to
carry on?
do? Carry on?
Um,
Okay.
I have not heard Patrick play the banjo.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be
Yeah.
super.
Or just crack up that last.
Sure, yeah, like the Soldier Spear, Dublin, British Patty.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, just we can all, I will decide.
Okay.
Do you want to play 2 times or 3 times through each?
Yes.
3, right. 3 times through each. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right,
So
we'll just wait.
So we'll finish up with one last set of reels. This is the Silver Spear, Dublin Reel, and Rakish Patty.
Sure. They, and by the way, these were all introduced to me years ago by another pipers. You know, these are headbanging session tunes. You need to know these tunes. Carry on.
those of you who weren't here today, you missed a big deal. But in any case, we're glad to be back, and we want to thank today Ted and Lynn for being with us. Patrick and Crystal, thank you so much. Thank you all, and we'll see you again next month.